Welcome to episode 58 with Quentrel Provo of Stop the Violence and Christine Royal Fader of the Halifax Jiu-Jitsu Society. As always, thanks to our sponsors at Maritime Madness Hot Sauce, Halifax e-scooters, and Privateer Harley Davidson. Let's do it. Hello, folks. Welcome to episode 58 here of Fight League Presents. We don't have a name yet, but we're still doing it 58 episodes later due to the quarantine, and we're moving forward. I hope everybody's enjoying the sunshine out there. That's why we have a few things going on a little bit later, so we had to bang this off as early as we can. And I want to thank again our sponsors and anybody out there in the front lines doing their thing to keep everybody safe. And it's super important right now, and we love you lots. So keep positive and keep doing your thing. So, which leads me to my first guest. This is a guy, he has no idea probably how I reached out to him or why, but he's a guy, it's funny, sometimes you don't realize the impact you have on people, and he's a guy that I've been following for probably since he started this brand. It's called Stop the Violence, and basically, I'll let him tell the story, but tragedy happened in his life, and he decided to, do his part in stopping the violence, and it's an incredible story, and he's done a lot of really, really great work in Nova Scotia, in the HRM. He was recognized last year as one of the top 100 influential people in the world under 30. I believe we'll have to discuss that with him. I could be correct, I could be wrong on that, but either way, he's had a great impact on the youth in Nova Scotia. So, without further ado, folks, let's bring him in. Quentrel Provo. Hey, how are you, sir?
I'm good.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Your intro was good.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's all true, though. It's the old thing. The old saying goes, it's not slander if it's true.
That's true.
And you deserve a lot of credit. I think it's important to, again, you're probably wondering why the hell is this guy reaching out to me, right? Like, why is this fight promotion? I think you're probably a little confused, right? And I think once people talk to me, like, okay, like this guy's not some. It's just he just wants to chat and get the story out there, and maybe give a little props that are due, right? So why don't you tell everybody how you got started? And I'm sure you've told the story a million times, but
I have. It started 2012. Back in August of 2012, I lost a close cousin, close friend, Kaylin, to violence. I was with him earlier that evening, and having to go home. And then finding out from my father, who was also his uncle, that he was killed. It really hurt me in a way that I've never been hurt before. I had lost, loved ones. I had lost my grandfather. I had lost our grandfather earlier that year. We had lost my aunt to cancer, but this was different. And so going through that, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to basically raise awareness around the issue of violence. So I decided to do a Stop the Violence march a month after he was killed. That's what it was supposed to just be, a march. And the rest is history. Here we are 8 years later, still going strong, still making a difference in the community, still impacting lives, one life at a time. So it hasn't been easy. It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of stress. There's been times I wanted to give up, but it's been worth it. And I know that Kaylin's life wasn't in vain, and to be able to change and impact lives has been my biggest accomplishment to date, despite all the awards that I've received.
Yeah, it's. I think that's what makes you so successful at it, man. Because you're so well spoken. Some people you're giving me goosebumps actually talking to you about it, because you're so genuine about it. Like you see in the media, the way you dress, the way you handle yourself. It's the way it should be when you're doing that kind of thing, and it's motivating, man. And you're really doing a great thing. I think it's incredible.
I appreciate that. And a lot of people, you're well spoken, and it's because when you felt that hurt, and what other families are going through when they lose their loved ones to violence, it hits you different. And so that's why I'm so passionate about it. That's why I want to make the change, because I don't want other families to go through that hurt that I went through. It's unfathomable. You can't explain it, and it hurts, and you never really get over losing someone like that you just learn to deal each day. And that's what I've been able to do, is learn to deal each day, and try and make an impact each day and try and make a difference. So thank you. It's just me.
Yeah, but again, going back to it, that's the thing, right? There's no ulterior motive, there's no secrets behind it. It's just you doing a good thing. And I like if more people were just talk, just reach out to one another, just like you and I are right now. Like, who cares? Like, just reach out, talk to one another, be good to one another, be like lead forward like you do. And if we had more people like you in our community, that's how people are going to get through things, especially what we just dealt with. In our terrible, it's been a rough go in this province. So, people like you out in the forefront, keeping people positive. Do you have any advice for anybody kind of dealing with that kind of stuff right now?
Yeah, it's been tough for all Nova Scotians during this time. We've had a lot of tragedy hit,
Mm,
um, with COVID, with the mass shooting, with the Navy helicopter going down.
hmm
2020 hasn't been really good to us, especially us Nova Scotians. And so um, just find the positive in each day. That's what I've been learning to lean on, is find the positive in each day, and telling your family that you love them and everything, even though we can't hug like
Yeah.
you know, just tell them that you love them, because life is short. Make the most of it. You can sit and you can drown in your sorrows, or you can just try and make the best of each day. And when you make the best of each day, you'll start to feel better. And I try and find the positive in every day. Going to see my son, or going out to my parents and just seeing their faces, being able to have that,
Yeah.
that blessing in itself. We take these um, little things for granted. And I hope after this pandemic's over and we come out of this, that we don't take the little things for granted anymore. Just to be able to go outside, just to be able to go play with your friends and
Yeah.
be around people and stuff. Those little things, we lost during this
Mhm.
pandemic. We couldn't do. So just don't take it for granted, and just learn to find the positive in every day. And if you woke up today, that's a blessing.
Yeah. So
No, you got
true.
you got a roof over your head. That's a blessing. You got clothes to put on your back, food on the table. A lot of people don't have that. These are little things that, I can't sit and complain.
Yeah.
I'm still breathing, I'm still living, I'm still healthy, I'm still eating. So
Yeah.
just find those positives in every day, and make the most of it.
Yeah, so well said. It's so true when you put it that way. Like at the end of the day, you get all these bullshit first world problems that people complain about. Oh, my
Mhm.
internet's too slow, or this channel's not working, or whatever, right? But if you took away, I wonder if you took away technology for a month, even just personal cell phone, would people's attitudes change? Like even in this pandemic, but take away their phones totally.
Yeah.
Some people might go nuts because they can't do Instagram selfies and stuff, but for the most part, I think it might help.
Yeah, it would help. Technology, you can see, before this whole pandemic, if you got on the bus, people are not talking to each other no more. Everyone's in their phones.
Yeah.
I didn't get my first cell phone until grade 12, and I was only allowed to use that if I was staying after school. And it was an audio box, so it didn't have games, it didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, I think the only game I had on there was that snake game, that the snake group. So, so I'm just telling my age, but yeah, like it didn't have a camera on it for you to take pictures. I had the long antenna and everything. So back then we had to talk to people. You had to, you got to, basically communicate with other people and get to know other people's story. And I find that so fascinating.
Yeah.
Uh, Meeting so many new people I've met over the last couple years. I've met thousands of people, and to be able to hear their stories. Everyone has a story. Everyone came from somewhere or came from something, and they're doing something along the lines of what they came from, and where we're at in our lives today. It's because of those stories, because of the hurt that we went through, or the pain, or the good
Mhm.
time that we went through, or the people in our lives that came in and we've lost. Has shaped us to who we are today. So hearing those stories, everyone's story is unique. It's been a beautiful thing. I've been able to meet people from all around the world,
Mhm.
uh, and doing Stop the Violence, and being able to even fathom that I'm here, and being able to have that opportunity to meet so many different people. I never thought this would be my dream job.
Yeah.
not my dream job. Being activist is not something I was like, as a kid, man, when I grow up, I'm going to be an activist, an anti-violence activist. No, I want to be a singer. I want to be a lawyer. Those were things that I was looking to do, be a basketball player, soccer player. Those were things that I was looking forward to do. And here I am, an activist and an analyst for Veteran Affairs Canada. So it wasn't what I wanted to be, but your life, your journey, you hit walls and you go over obstacles and it leads you to where you're supposed to be. And it's crazy because this is actually my purpose and who I'm supposed to be and how I'm supposed to live my life and what I'm doing right now through Stop the Violence. That's my purpose. And when you find your purpose, man, it's a beautiful thing because you wake up and you love what you do and you love to be able to help people and care for people and try and make a difference. So when you find that purpose, it's not like a job. It's something, it becomes who I am. So that's been a beautiful thing. So find your purpose. If I can tell you anything, find your purpose. You will find it. And when you find it, you'll know.
There you go. I don't have a mic, man, but I should have a mic drop after that because that was very, very well said and super inspirational to people out there. Again, like, it's important to talk, man, and just be positive and be nice to one another. And I think it's an incredible thing. And is that kind of like, obviously, the Stop the Violence brand ties in, you're the ambassador for the Hurricanes as well. Does that, like, your sports background, your all around overall persona, you go to a lot of schools, it all kind of ties in together, and it's like you say, I guess, a dream job for you, eh?
Yeah, being able to go to all these schools and be around the kids, man, it's an amazing feeling because when I started Stop the Violence, I didn't I expected to do marches, I expected to do this, and then when I started speaking in the schools, I didn't know how the kids were going to be receptive. But these kids looking, running up to me, all of them, all the elementary schools that I go to, a lot of the kids know the Stop the Violence song.
Cool.
They're singing it, they're coming up to you in the mall, Mom, you got to hear the Stop the Violence song. You know what I mean? And it's getting that message out, and the kids see your face. And the most important thing to me is the message. And I always tell people, you know what I mean? It's not about me making money or anything, man. It's the message that is important. I haven't really promoted the clothing brand over the last 4 years because it's not about the brand, it's about the message. And if I can get the message of that's the most important thing. That's saving lives. That's what you can't put money on. Money can't buy that. And to be able, like, over the last couple of years, I've given away actually more than I've sold because that's just who I am. If I can put a t-shirt, Stop the Violence t-shirt on a kid, and they can wear that proudly, that's what I would love to do. You know what I mean? So that's what I've been doing. You know what I mean? Making kids brand ambassadors for Stop the Violence, stuff like that. And it's a beautiful thing when a kid tells you, man, and I look up to you. You've impacted my life, or I'm going to do this because you've been here. And so those are what I live for. Those are why I do what I do, is hearing the kids, talking to families that have lost loved ones, and them telling me that you brought me hope, for a better future. So those are the powerful moments that I live for, that no one can take from me. You know what I mean? All these awards and accolades, they're great and all, and I'm thankful for the recognition. But at the end of the day, the real work is making an impact behind the scenes and changing lives, because that's a trickle-down effect. And the way I approach Stop the Violence is basically, if I can reach the kids before they pick up a gun, before they make those decisions, that's where the change is going to be.
No question.
A lot of people don't understand, when people are at that point that are already shooting and already, down that road, a person like me that has never been down that road isn't going to change their mind.
Yeah, you need to get at them, like you said, when they're like at that grassroots. And that's what's so cool about it, because in 10 or 15 years, you're going to really see the impact of what you're doing.
And that's why I told him it's not an overnight thing. This is going to take years. But if I can get that kid that's in grade 3, when he gets 18, 19, he's going to remember, oh, well, Quentrel said this. You know what I mean? He's been here. It's going to be a second nature. It's going to be a habit. And so that's where I'm at. I'm at the grassroots, trying to make a difference, and trying to make a difference from the bottom up. You can't start at the top and try and change anything. When people are already there, they're already set in their ways. They already know how they're going to think. And, only thing you can do is pray and hope that they make a decision to change their lives, or, they don't harm anyone. So those people, that's what I pray for them. And to be even able, through Stop the Violence, I've been able to have an impact on the inmates that are, behind bars.
Nice.
Being able to mentor, some inmates from behind bars, and then some when they get out, giving back by helping stop the violence.
Awesome.
Has been tremendous, and that's been another blessing. I never knew I would have an impact from the outside in. But last year when I went up there to speak at Burnside Prison, I spoke about 4 different ranges, and it was volunteer time if you want to come, and each one was packed.
Wow.
Three men ranges and a woman's range. I was there all day, and they all wanted to come and to see me, and they were like, "Yeah, man, I heard you on the news. I got your article in my cell, all these things." And it was just a beautiful thing because I was so nervous. I had spoken to thousands and thousands of people, but going to the prison, I was like, my story, like, what I mean? What am I gonna say?
Yeah.
But it got there and it was impactful, and made a lot of good, connections there with those that are behind bars. That, a lot of them got out and, reached out when they got out. Man, thank you for coming up, man. It showed you. And I said to them, I'm no different than you. I've made mistakes in my life as well. Your mistakes ended you up in here. Mine haven't. But we're the same. And when you get that second chance, you just got to make the best of it. And that really stuck with them because I didn't act like I was better than them. I didn't act like we're the same. We just make mistakes, and your mistakes ended up here. But when you get that second chance, make the best of it, please.
Wow. It's incredibly true. It's having somebody there to guide you is, I've had lots of people who've mentored me, whether it's in business or life. I have PTSD. I've had lots of shitty days in my life, and it's so important to have that person you can talk to or reach out to. And I think it's an incredible thing. Like education, everyone thinks education is school. No, education comes in so many different forms. And what you're doing is the most beautiful form of education because you're teaching them, but also bonding with them, and it's an education that they'll never lose.
And the thing with doing Stop the Violence is building relationships. And that's what I've been able to do, is build relationships. And one thing I just said to someone the other day, they reached out to me and I replied back, and I was having a conversation when they were like, I never thought that you were going to reply back. I know you probably get all kinds of messages. I'm like, I'm a normal person like this. Yeah, I may be doing all this and you see me, but anyone can reach out. I'm going to reply back. I'm going to talk to you. We're going to have a conversation. And that's the great thing. Like, let's talk, you know what I mean? I may learn something from you, and I'm always trying to learn something, or always trying to find new ideas, and always trying to do something new, you know what I mean, or different. So I'm always good. And, having those people around me that are close to me, being able to give me constructive criticism and how to approach things, and having that, as a leader, you have to be able to take that and have to be able to learn and accept that, if you think that you know it all, you're never going to get ahead. And so, I try, when I go into a room full of other people, I try to be the dumbest person in the room, because the smartest person never learns anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I always try to be the dumbest person in the room and be learning new things. Well, I'm going to take this from him and I'm going to take that from her and, try to mix it up my own way. You know what I mean?
The sponge.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very true. It's really, really interesting. And I would love to, have you on again, but for a full hour, like maybe, do an entire episode based around you and have some people brought on that you've dealt with, or maybe we could, work behind the scenes together about, I know I've read a couple articles, you're looking to get something put together too about maybe like a little show. So maybe we can work together and help you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think you have a lot of
always.
Yeah, you definitely have a hell of a following, and for all the great reasons and the right reasons, man. So before I let you go, any quick advice for anybody, if obviously, like you said, they can reach out, but for those shy people who may not reach out, if you could just give them any advice for dealing with tragedy and how, how to get over it.
everyone's different. You got to understand everyone's going to grieve different. Everyone's going to process things different. And it's going to take a while. Some may take longer than the other. I remember, after Kaylin passed, and, I was dealing with that, and our grandfather had passed earlier that year. I didn't really realize until 3 years later. You know what I mean? And that's when I let it all out, and you're standing in front of grave and headstones, and you're letting it all out. But I felt better after. One thing you can't do is just let it ball up.
Yeah.
Anything, you got to talk to someone. You got to be able to, just let it out, and don't ball it up, because it will come out worse than what you
Yeah.
wanted to be. But there are people close around you that care and that love you. So talk to them, and do something you love. For me, I write, and I sing music and do that. So that's what I do as my outlet, to let out my thoughts and let out, what I'm feeling. I remember a couple months ago, after the tragedy, when the tragedy happened, I was hurt. This is my province. I'm out here as an anti-violence activist, and this happens in my province, and 23 lives, taken in the way that they were. It hurt me tremendously. Had a lot of tears, but lately, I've been able to work, and I've been working on a song I've been writing, for Nova Scotia, called Scotian Strong.
Nice.
So that's where I'm putting my thoughts and effort, but also, being able to support families and people going through stuff at this tough time. I'm here. I'm only a message away. I try and reply to everybody. It may not come the first day or a couple days, because I get a lot of messages, but I'll get back to you.
Awesome.
And that's just how I am. I'm not too big of a person for anyone,
Good.
Yeah, talk to people around you.
Yeah. So true, so well said. And I got to thank. Sorry, man, I just dropped the pen there. I just got to thank you so much for having come and joining us today. And again, like I said, moving forward, we'd like to get you on for a future episode. Maybe we'll talk about that behind the scenes. But man, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And everybody, get out there and follow Mr. Stop the Violence on Instagram. Where else can they find you on social media?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, Mr. Stop Violence. So you guys can follow up, but hit me up. Yeah, I'm always looking for a good convo. So yeah, I hope you guys get out and enjoy the sun. Remember, to continue to social distance yourselves from people, because we're still in a state of emergency, even though the sun is shining. Don't forget that. Even though things are opening up, don't forget that, because we don't want this second wave to hit and we go back into lockdown.
No.
So I hope everyone's family's doing good. I'm praying for those, families of those victims in Northwood as well, that have lost a lot of people. So my heart and prayers go to all of you guys. But stay safe out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. There you have it, folks. Join him. Follow on social media, Quentrel Provo, Mr. Stop the Violence. Lots of love to you, my man. Speak soon.
Thank you. See ya.
Awesome guest, a fantastic guy, a guy I've been following for a long time. A real heartwarming story that, I think it's important to tell those stories. It's not all about MMA and fighting all the time, but this next guest, it will be. So this is a girl I've known for a long time. She's been doing jiu-jitsu for as long as I have, that's for sure. She's a brown belt at Halifax Jiu-Jitsu Society, a very, very large part of that school. One of I believe the head instructor, if not head instructor of the kids class, works very, very closely with them. A multiple-time IBJJF medalist competitor. She's competed and won locally as well. And yeah, just an all-around great person. She's involved behind the scenes when it comes to reffing, and works full-time as well in the beauty industry, I guess we'll call it. So yeah, she's a fantastic person. Without further ado, let's bring her on, folks. Christine Royal Fader. How are you?
Good. How are you, Kat?
Not bad.
Or Derek, I should say. I always call you Kat.
That's all right. That's all right. I know some people call me Kat, but it doesn't matter. How are you doing?
Pretty good. It's the time away from the mats is starting to get to me. There's only so much solo workouts and things I can do. So, I think we're all feeling it in our community. We we want that human contact and that ability to really work with each other. So, I'm over it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think it's like with all of us, more so like you're there. I get to the class once, maybe every 2 days or something, but you're there every day, twice a day, probably, or for not twice a day, if not for 4 hours at a time.
Yeah, usually when I'm there, I don't get to go in and out anymore. Josh and Joel run the school, and I'm kind of like support,
Mhm.
but we can't. And most of the other instructors are support. But when you're helping to teach and like run the facility, you don't just get to show up on time for class and then leave whenever it ends. You've got to do all the things before and after, and chat with students and all that stuff. And
Mhm.
I love it. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot more it's a
Yeah,
lot more of an investment in time, I guess.
it really is. And I see it, when I'm at the club, like when I'm in training in Halifax BJJ, I see it. Like you guys are there for hours after a class talking to random kids or talking to parents or whatever it is. There's a lot goes on behind the scenes that not necessarily is financially, compensated for, like everyone's doing this out of the love of their heart for the most part. And I think Halifax Jiu-Jitsu Society is an incredible thing. For anybody who isn't aware, Halifax Jiu-Jitsu Society was started 2017, am I correct? 18,
18, I think.
18?
No, 2017. Yeah, because we're going to
Okay.
be 3 this fall. Yeah.
Well, I'll let you tell the story of what Halifax Jiu-Jitsu Society is.
Yeah, so we're a not-for-profit. We started basically as a group of people that just wanted a clean, safe place to train where we could have fun.
Mhm.
So it was kind of selfish on our part. We literally opened the school with just a few people and counted out the numbers, and we're like, okay, I think we can afford the bills.
Yeah.
And then we ended up building much more than we thought. We have a wonderful community of people that volunteer and train really hard. And yeah, so I think that's the basic story. But it's much more than basically like just a club. I think it's like we're trying to build a community and like a place where people want to be. So.
Well, it's a super welcoming environment, and we've spoke about this how many years in the past. It's a very important thing. Not everybody there wants to be an MMA fighter. Not everybody there wants to be a competitor. There's so many different people from all walks of life, and you kind of have to cater to them. It's not like a regular gym where people check in and they just go to a machine that they like or they do a class. In jiu-jitsu, some like everybody's at a different level, and that's what's hard about being an instructor, huh?
Well, and I think like our mantra really has been, and one of the things that I say is everyone's important in our club. Like whether you're a 5-year-old kid and you only go to Sunday morning class with Chris and Morgan, and you just do like a little bit of shrimping, all the way through to like our top competitors
Mhm.
who compete as much as they can. You're all important, and everyone's goals are important too. And if you want to be a world champ, the whole club is going to try and help you.
Yeah.
If you want to train once a week, the whole club is going to try and help you. So I think really it's about realizing that like jujitsu, people can get really selfish because you get so focused on your own
Sure.
goals, but you're not going to make it unless you have the help of the whole team. And
Mhm.
so really, if you're a competitor, yeah, we'll try and help you, but at the same time, you need to give back to the school too and the students and be kind and answer questions and be friendly. Like that's all we ask.
Yeah, it's very true. It's interesting to hear it that way because it's weird to see some people, not everybody, but you see some people go full circle because we always say, oh, you don't want to be that person training in the garage by yourself. You just don't. Like if you want to learn anything, you got to get out there. You have to get your ass kicked, take your licks, and move on. But then some people get to be a black belt and they become that person again. They're like, oh, I can't learn anything. Like it's like whoa, and they it's just a weird thing, but like after so long they reverse when it should be the opposite. A lot of people say once they get to black belt is when they really start learning, but I've yet
Or
to start learning.
yeah, or even the humble thing. I think that, you have to understand you're never going to know all of jiu-jitsu. It really is endless. And the game and the meta changes all the time, and what's popular changes. And then you
Mhm.
see a resurgence of old school stuff. And I love that part. I love the sort of changing of the game. So you're never going to learn everything. And I think sometimes goes to people's head. And like when you're a white belt, I was talking to some white belts the other day, actually. We had a Zoom call, and
Nice.
everything's so new and
Sure.
so shiny. And you think everyone's in it for the right reasons. Like as a white belt, because you're in it for certain reasons and
Mhm.
you're learning so much and it's so great. And then you start to go through, and I said to them, I'm like, you will meet people and you'll be like, man, that's a fantastic person. And I'm like, that guy's an asshole. And
So
you
true.
know and there's a lot
Uh,
of people in
Not me,
our
right? Not me, right?
no, not you, in our jiu-jitsu
Yeah, yeah.
community, and not just like our local community. I'm talking about like the worldwide community, and they put on a certain persona, but
Yeah.
that's not who they really are. And they're
Mhm.
they're they're jerks, they're assholes, but they get a lot of respect because they wear a black belt and it goes to their head. But
Mhm.
really, you're not anything. You just have a stupid colored belt around your waist. You're
Mhm.
just like the rest of the students.
Yeah.
And you should be thankful and grateful, and nobody owes you anything. Like
No.
when you have a school, you get the students that you deserve.
Yeah.
So, if your students are loyal to you and they continue to come back all the time and they want to be there, you deserve that. You worked hard for it. But if you constantly have people coming in and out the door, no loyalty, um, you know,
Mhm.
being disrespectful, then maybe you have to look at yourself and the way that your school is run.
That it's very well said. It's a lot of narcissism, and shout out to my ex-boss because he was like that too. And when you have people coming in and out the door all the time, take a look in the mirror. Maybe you're the asshole, right? So
Well, really, it's it's all the top down. So if you want respectful students who are happy and want to be there to
yeah.
learn, and you want a positive environment, you have to create that, and you have to set the standard, and
Mhm.
people will follow. And the
Mhm.
people that don't will end up going because they won't like it there
Yeah.
either.
Well, I always like, and I spoke to, I don't know who I was talking about this. Maybe it was, I don't know if it was Ben Askren. Maybe we were talking about how like jujitsu sometimes, like for me, like I'm a hobbyist. Like I don't compete much, and when I do, I'm like it's not. I want to get to that level, but anyway, long story short, I compare it to like gentlemen's hockey. For me, it's going out, getting some exercise, seeing people that I care about, having a good sweat, and going home feeling better about myself. And I don't go there trying to like, oh my God, I scored 4 goals or whatever, right? And it's interesting to see the different attitudes and personalities involved in the sport. And like we've been involved in it for a long time behind the scenes, and certainly behind the scenes you see a different side of things for sure. But on to some positive stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
You know you I don't know if Melissa and Courtney, I believe, and but are you the first female to win an IBJJF medal from the Maritimes?
I'm not.
I'm
I'm
not
not
sure either.
sure if I'm the first. No, Melissa, I think competed in Brazil, maybe at blue belt, and I think she did win a medal down there. She might be the first, but I think I'm the first um, world champ in the Masters
Yeah,
division. Masters though, so
doesn't matter.
we have to put that asterisk
Still
at there.
though, it's you can call it asterisks or whatever, but another thing that I really think I admire about you guys is you go to all the local tournaments. Not only would you go, you guys would be the first people that are right behind the scenes going, hey Derek, maybe we should do this rule set, or giving me advice on how to improve, because you're the ones that would go to these. You're not shitting on me. Oh, hey, this is who are you doing? You're there to help, and I think that's such an admirable thing, and that's, I guess, going back to being positive, like that's why you're so good with the kids. And
Yeah, well, you want to be the change that you want to see.
yeah,
So if you want change, help people make those changes. And don't get mad at people. Like everyone in the local scene is doing the best that they can.
sure.
Honestly,
Yeah.
none of us, we are the one area I think of Canada where we didn't have Brazilian immigrants come here and bring the sport. And
Mhm.
so when you look at the pioneers of the sport like Jared and Peter and Kevin and all these people that started training, they had to go and learn and bring it back. And so, when we have tournaments or when we're doing the best that we can. We don't have we've never had a big tournament come here. Submission Arts United might be the biggest brand to kind of bring their stuff here, but we've never had like an IBJJF or I don't know, Grappling Industries or anyone who kind of has these traveling professional shows come here, and which is fine because we do okay on our own. But yeah, I just think like promoters and people who are doing stuff, sure, we're all going to make mistakes. And it's just it's not the mistake that you make, it's what you do after. So if if someone makes a mistake, it's approaching them after and being like, how can we make this better? Or, I want to help you because I know I can help you be better. And, because even reffing, people make mistakes and.
That's the main reason I got out of the whole jiu-jitsu tournaments. Like, I'll never do a jiu-jitsu tournament again in my life. Sorry to Rogue and Grapple or Guillotine Production. You guys have the market. Enjoy it. Well worth it. They're both doing a fantastic job, and they deserve it because they're doing great jobs. And to be able to put up with that kind of stuff is not easy. It really isn't. Like, there's a lot of shout out to all you parents who know you're all black belts who never grappled a day in your life. It's not easy to deal with.
No, and there is a bit of there's a weird culture in competition jiu-jitsu sometimes where everybody kind of like wants a medal. Everybody wants to do well. And so they want that like podium spot. They want that Instagram photo, that Facebook shout out. They want to like be able to like prove that they're the best. But I feel like it's some of these really tiny divisions in every tournament means that everybody gets like a medal, and it just kind of waters down the competition a little bit. And we don't have a ton of competitors, to be honest. I think you may have had the biggest tournament ever with the Nova Scotia Open, and I'm not sure how many were there.
I think it was I don't want to brag or anything, but yeah. No.
But I think that was the biggest one ever.
I would say like we were just under 400 between 2 days, but yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, but like, you go to these IBJJF competitions and it's a bigger pool. So you have thousands of people there and you really fight for your medals. Like you fight to get on the podium. And some of these blue belt divisions, they have like 25 guys, 30 guys. And I just think like sometimes people get upset because they're like, oh, I shouldn't be in that division or I shouldn't be in that division. And really in back in the olden days, you'd have like purple, brown, and black together. You'd have all sizes together. My very first white belt competition, there were the blue belt, all sizes, all people. So
it's true. Like, and you know what really disappoints me, I guess, about I wish the female scene has, I wish it would keep coming a little, I don't know is it growing at all? Rogue's doing a great job, like I said, in Guillotine, but are the brackets growing?
Slowly. I would say slowly. Like when I first started, there were no purple belts, brown belts, or black belts, like even in the Maritimes. And you have to put it into perspective. We have 3 female black belts in the Maritimes. That is it. Currently, I think I'm the only brown belt in the Maritimes for females. So that's not a very big pool. How many males are there? There's tons of men black belts now, or not tons, but there's quite a few, and quite a few male brown and purple. So, and for women, but
it's hard to compete. Like I don't blame people wanting to compete. Even when we used to do it for free, black belts compete for free. It's hard to get people out, man. They were all broken and old.
Yeah, exactly. I read something about that one time that was just like, why don't black belts compete? And it's like, because after 10 years of constant training, you have so many injuries and just the risk reward is lower. You learn so much in the lower belts from competing, like white and blue and purple. Like you just want to get out there, you want to fix your mistakes. And then at black belt, when you watch those matches, it's like 2 highly skilled technicians, and really the mistake that someone makes is just so tiny, so small. And you might learn and reassess after, but I I don't know, 10-minute matches of black belt sometimes on IBJJF. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's hard. Oh, we got a comment from our boy Chris Jesselet.
Oh yeah,
Last
there we go.
absolute bracket, we had 17 women. Look at that. Good for
Yeah.
him.
See, it's growing. It's
good.
just like slow. It's going to take years and years and years. And I think like when I started, I was sort of like at I was sort of in that pioneer-ish group in the Maritimes. And so right behind me follows up like quite a few women.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be badass when you get that Jocelyn up there.
Yeah. And I think too, like one thing I've always you were one of the first, because when I was on your event, I remember holding up a sign, equality for women.
Yeah,
like
that was a big deal. Dominica.
Yeah, that was, because like women didn't make as much money in prizes. They didn't get as much, press coverage at black belt. I think lately at Worlds, they've been like showing equally all the matches, but before you could only really watch the men's matches on Flow and things like that. So it's coming.
Really?
And the other thing is, I think women need to stop asking for special treatment sometimes with competing. Like, if you're going to go to a tournament, pay the full price, support your local promoter. Like,
and that's what I don't agree with promoters. Like, I stopped doing that because that's what got me in a hassle. Like, and I stopped doing that, catering to the women's brackets, because then people would bitch and complain. And I was like, you know what?
You have to value the product. The product is the same. Your product is the same to the men as it is to the women. Yeah. And if I value your product, I should support you and pay. And I get it. You don't want to fight the same person. You don't want to fight your teammates. It sucks. But if you want to continue to have local tournaments, you have to support the tournament. They're putting themselves out there with so much overhead, and it's not free, and it takes a lot of work, and you've got to pay people. And so for me, when I go to an IBJJF tournament, like, I'm spending thousands to go, and it's like, first match you lose, you are done. So no one's
controlling you either. So you might be there by yourself.
You might be there by yourself. You might travel all that way, get subbed in like 5 seconds, you're done. And then, that's it. You get to go eat fast food. But that would be my only thing with the women's brackets. It's like, you know what? If you want equality and you want to be treated equally, you've got to present yourself equally, and you've got to pay, and you've got to show up, and you've got to just shut up like the guys. Josh Presley has gone against some people multiple times a year, every year, after year, after year. Same with Joel Jack. Like, some of my teammates, I watch the same match over and over and over again, and they pay full price every time.
No question. That's what, people a lot, to be honest, and this, Christine, people would say, Joel competes on your cards a lot. Because Joel's the guy sitting there cleaning up the mats at the end of the show. Joel's the guy messaging me going, hey, how can I help? How can I make a video? I'll be there if I need to. Those are the people that, if you can help behind the scenes, a lot of people don't get as much credit either, like refs or whatever it is, helping behind the scenes. But like, all tournaments take a massive amount, even going to Rogue, like, it's like a whole club. It takes a huge commitment to do. They're driving down from St. John the day before, losing a day of work or whatever it is. That's commitment to build a scene, right? And that's...
Oh, totally. And the people that are there, and, I think one thing that's really inspiring to just to speak to Marcelo, when we go to New York, he is there at the very beginning and he stays until the very end. And he is one of the only high-level competitors or coaches, and he expects the whole team to be there, and you stay and you support each other. And like that, again, when I went there before, I wasn't part of his team, and I'd see that and I'd be like, wow, like, just like an inspirational type person and message, like, where he does value all of his students from white to black. They are all important to him. So
it is nice to see, like, that. Again, I spent my whole career training with Jared, whatever I'm talking about. But my jiu-jitsu is through Jared and Rorson, and they've taught me an incredible amount to be humble and be that way. And now transitioning into Halifax PJJ, it's really nice that way, because it's the same kind of vibe. It's just the same kind of be yourself, really relaxed kind of environment. But I was telling the story the other day about the first time I went to Marcelo's with you guys, actually.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was so scared. They showed up late. you guys are already in there, and I don't know who I was telling the story to, but
You were my partner.
yeah. Well, before I think I had to like beg you to be my partner. So, because my ADHD, and then being in that setting, like everything's just like firing off the wall for me. And the poor guy who was drilling with me, legit, I couldn't pick up the technique. It wasn't even like a hard technique. Like, I struggle picking up techniques, and I couldn't pick it up. I was like, ugh. And literally the guy got up and walked away, like just left me there. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll go over Christine and beg her and Joel to split up. But it's one of those things, like it's Marcelo, I was late. He was so respectful of letting me go in, and it was a really nice environment. And that's what I guess brings people back and makes people feel comfortable. It's so important.
Yeah, I mean, like I have traveled a little bit. I've been to other schools, and I know what it's like to walk in and everyone ignores you.
Mhm.
And then you kind of like come in and you're trying to introduce yourself. It's a full contact sport. You feel a little bit, apprehensive. You don't know if people are good, especially as you move up in the ranks. You have more of a target on your back.
Sure.
And so you don't know if people are going to try to kill you or if they're just going to have fun and be nice. And so, and especially when we have visitors come to our school and say that, like, wow, like you guys were so nice and thank you so much. And because to speak to that, I think you can tell a lot about a person by the way they roll, you know,
Yeah.
and like when I roll with people, I try to be playful. I'm not out for the kill all the time. I want to have fun, work on my own thing. And so when you go and you roll with someone and they're so intense and they're just trying to kill you, that feeling, you're just like, what kind of place am I in that promotes this?
That's true. Yeah, but it's wonderful at the same time. Eh?
Yes.
Like I'm struggling right now. Like Chelsea will not do any jujitsu with me. She will not even let me practice anything on her. And I'm sitting here doing like terrible shadow boxing or whatever I'm doing to stay shape. And I don't know what's going to happen, Christine. Like how obviously you guys just got a second order of mats. For anybody who isn't aware, you're thinking about expanding, or we're going to expand. How's Halifax Jiu-Jitsu going to deal with this?
So, I think like I'm the type of person, and I like to get ahead of things before we know all the facts.
Sure. Yeah.
And so being still in a state of emergency, it's difficult to make any sort of plans other than like from a week for now. So, you know, personally, I'm not down with solo drill, 6 feet apart classes.
No.
I don't think many students want to do that. I think it's maybe once a week or something, but I don't want to do a grappling dummy. That just doesn't bring any joy. And in our space, we could probably fit about 10 people per class. It's just not worth it. We need to be able to touch each other. Now, I can speak from my own work, working as an esthetician, going back to work. We've been looking at guidelines and things set out by the government. And, it will be interesting because they are opening the economy all at once. I think there'll still be social distancing for a little while, but I'm hopeful that if the numbers continue to go down, more restrictions will be lifted by maybe July. So,
Nice.
I'm able to do some services that I thought, like I personally didn't think I was going to go back to working on clients until July, but I'll be able to in June, it looks like, and I'll be able to do some up close and personal stuff. So I don't know. I'm kind of hopeful, but again, we have to wait and see. I think I don't know.
You're going to have a hazmat suit on.
I know, and it's just frustrating because we don't have all the information from the government, what they want to see. We're fortunate in our area of the world. We haven't had, other than Northwood, our long-term care facility, which is sad. We haven't had a ton of community spread. It's mostly been in Halifax. But that being said, like COVID's here to stay, and it will probably come back. But I don't know. I don't know. Personally, I think what you're going to see is sleeper jiu-jitsu cells all around town where people just make their own little social group. They know they're safe. They know they're clean. They'll train on their own. But like us as a club, we can't sanction any of that. We're not going to organize any of that. But that's what I think people are going to end up doing.
I think you're completely right. And matter of fact, as I've already had many conversations about a couple of them, so I'm sure you have too.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
part of
people,
life for us.
I think when you get down to like the root of why a lot of us do jujitsu and why like everyone's like, oh, I'll just go work out. No, it's not the same. It's
Yeah.
not the same. You don't get the same tired feeling. You don't get the same mental feeling.
No.
It's just not the same. And so, I just think people need that and people for their mental health. It's a big mental health thing. So
Yeah.
I think people are going to start doing underground jujitsu. It will be Fight Club. Don't talk
Dungeons.
about it.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that's the only reasons I run are if I'm getting chased by the cops or I got to go to the bathroom. One of the two. But I don't run for anything else. So I haven't been doing much running. That's a shout out to Peter Anthony, an old joke of his. But yeah, it's man, I don't know. I'm doing okay eating wise, but it's not the easiest, Christine, for sure. With all these damn places offering takeout, we do takeout every weekend. It's only nice hamburgers, so I'm struggling with that. But yeah, it's interesting to talk about the like being an esthetician because like that's as close as it gets.
Yeah, like if I do a facial and I'm touching your face around your mouth without a mask on, that's as close as I can get to the source of the the
Yeah. So
problem there.
how is that allowed? But then jujitsu, like this is what is ridiculous about it all.
So I think the thing is because I can wear PPE. So I can wear a mask and a face shield and glove up and I can get rid of that. But at the same time, I mean, and one thing was interesting though was that they told us we are not allowed to take anyone's temperature. So you're not allowed to screen for that. And I kind of agree because it only gives you a snapshot of that moment. But there's a lot of businesses in the US and stuff and gyms that have bought temperature monitors and will scan you before you come in. But yeah, we're not supposed to do that in Nova Scotia. So don't go buy a thermometer because you're probably not allowed to. They said it's out of our scope and it's sort of against your right as a human.
Jesus. Don't get me started on that. Our rights as a human. My God. We'll leave it at that, folks, I guess. But yeah, it's incredible. But I think it's, going back to jiu-jitsu, I guess, in MMA, having positive role models is it's important as males, but as females, it's super important. Obviously, there's a big transition in the world in the last couple of years, and a lot of the dirtbag men are getting caught for doing a lot of the dirtbag stuff that they're, and it's because people are speaking out. So continue to speak out and continue to be an advocate, Christine, because it does make a difference. And, I think, we've known each other for a long time, and I see the impact you make on a lot of the kids and people at the club, and it's a great thing. So keep it up.
Thank you. I just want to give a shout out. I wouldn't be here for all of my training partners, like my male training partners that really encouraged me. I think as much as sometimes men get a bad rap for tearing women down and like keeping them from doing stuff, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for certain people that really helped me, Joel Jacker, Josh Whalen, Josh Presley, Chris Kalides, Adam Piercy, the list, TJ Grant, he was super helpful when I first started. There's been lots of people who have really, really, really encouraged me and supported me and been great for women and treated me like an athlete that I always wanted. Have I had times where that hasn't happened? Of course. Sure. Yeah. I don't want to go there, but for the most part, like I wouldn't be there without those people. And those are the people that are making a big difference too.
Yeah.
I agree. People that support everyone.
Yeah, so true. Like gender, race doesn't matter. Be there, be good to one another. Who gives a shit? Be supportive and smile and move forward. And it's an incredible, it's a simple message, like I say at the end of every podcast for all 4 people that are watching, if you can be anything in this world, be kind. And it's
exactly. It'll come back to you too with like, the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them doing to you. Yeah. If you're good to people, they'll be good to you too.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's it. And in case an example, like I can walk into Halifax Jiu-Jitsu and be welcomed with open arms. It's not my home club, but you guys have been amazing there and so good to me, you know. So that's what it's about. Just make people feel comfortable and like you said, do unto others as you would like to do unto you. But one last question. Where's your favorite takeout?
My favorite takeout?
Have you
Okay,
takeout?
so recently I've been going to the Blue Olive on Quentrel Road for Greek food.
Ooh.
They have really good chicken skewers and rice and potatoes and Greek salad and tzatziki sauce. It's not like super unhealthy, so it won't like break your bank.
Yeah.
Or they also have like really good pita wraps.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Wow. Well, you're speaking to my heart because I believe we're getting takeout tonight. So Chelsea, if you're watching, that's where we're going.
Just go to the Blue Olive. You won't
If I have
regret
any
it.
say. I don't know if I have any say in that or not, but yeah, it's awesome. I want to thank you for joining us here, Christine, and I'd like to get you on again. You know, maybe we could get some other people from the jiu-jitsu community talk about competitions or whatever. You know, I think it's do another little roundtable.
Love it. Yeah. My passion, one of my outside passion is jiu-jitsu. I can talk jiu-jitsu all day long. So whenever you want to have me back, I'll come back.
I would love to. Yeah, you're a great role model. Keep up doing what you're doing, and hopefully we'll see you very soon in the new future.
Yes, let's get on the mats.
All right, lots of love. Be safe.
Okay, see you later, Derek.
Thanks for joining us, Christine Royal Fader. Fantastic girl, super talented competitor. Barbecue place in Truro is pretty awesome. Egg Gengen. That's a comment from Egg Engine. The barbecue place in Truro is pretty awesome. Old Road Barbecue. Yeah, very good. All right, folks. Well, that was a fantastic episode. We're banging it off here a little bit early today because it's beautiful out, and I got some stuff to do tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night. We have another fantastic episode tomorrow night. I have no idea who's on. We're booked about a month out here. So popular. My phone will not stop ringing. It's crazy. I'm just joking. All right, folks. Lots of love. If you can be anything in this world, be kind. Thanks to our sponsors. See you tomorrow. Thanks to our sponsors, and thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow night.